Okay, Molly, I'm glad to see that you were able to get out to the park to get this set up and have a chance to work through these small spaces after having quite a break, and it sounds like not really feeling great either. On this small space, I would have started her a little bit further back from jump number one. She just looked like she barely had some room to extend, but handling wise, I would say all in all, this was quite nice. I really thought based on how you cued jump number four, that you might have gotten a little bit better turn here. This turn here on jump number four and this jumping effort, this has been something that people have struggled with all month, this entire small space, because the single most difficult jumping effort for a dog is a parallel approach with a 180-degree turn. And that's what we have here, approaching here, wanting to bend around and turn and go back. So any dog who takes off before they get to that inside upright is going to have no choice but to slice and then have that wider turn coming back, and that's what happens right here. So you can see Cinder takes off not incredibly early, all right, but lands on that slice because she couldn't get that right shoulder around the wing. And I thought based on your handling, you looked quite good on that. Your timing was good. So I think it was more of a continuing to work on that skill and improve that skill and that bending. Here, early cueing, just pausing to show outside arm was up. Very nice. Once you see her take off, accelerate down that line. Instead of doing the spin, you ended up doing the full front dog on left, which is perfectly fine. The point was to add those extra turning cues to keep the dog from going to the blue tunnel. Rear cross. The rear cross was executed very nice. I don't love the strategy, but you guys are all doing them because I presented it. So the thing about the rear cross is there's just so much waiting around. It is getting the handlers across the finish pretty far ahead of the dog. So you'll see you actually cross that finish further ahead on this one than you did option number one. And again, execution, you can see here, you cue her in front of you, you step in lateral for the motion, she turns to the right. It's just the waiting. But again, look how far ahead you are over that last jump. So execution looked good on that. I'm not sure that for me personally, it's a strategy that I would choose or encourage because of all the waiting around, but the execution looked nice. Now, this is the one that you struggled with, and you are consistent with everybody else who has done this, and that is struggling to make it over for jump number 5. So the blind cross there was good. The send was pretty good, so I actually think that you got a nice send on number 4, and you're already backing up and leaving. But when you got down here, you started to slow down and pause right here. And really what you needed to do is break that plane and get around that wing. So by staying on the landing side, instead of cueing a serpentine push, you cued a traditional serpentine. She took off on that. Then you tried to push around the edge, and as she reacted, she pulled the bar. So there is a difference between a serpentine and a serpentine push. Basically, in order to cue the change of direction for the dog, meaning are you landing on the and going on the landing side, or are you pushing off on the takeoff side? It's going to come down a lot to where your location is. So if the next obstacle is on the takeoff side, you need to try to get over on the takeoff side. And you have one here in a bit that you get up there, and you do quite nice. You're working through these problems all exactly how I would. Here was another one where when she took off, you were still on the landing side. So it basically opens up the idea that you're going to be going off in this direction, so the tunnel comes into play, and then as you step across that plane, oh crap, we're turning, and it's too late for them to turn back on that. So you got to get up there and see how now you're pushing, and right here you're breaking the plane and you're getting up there. You want to get up there and break that plane and push around that wing a little bit earlier than what you are there. As you break, I mean, you do exactly as I would have done in terms of breaking it down and working. You put her on a really strong slice. A couple of those she is thinking throttle because you may be inclined to drop back. That one right there I think was one of the ones that I recall thinking of as my favorite. All right, you can see she's approaching. See how you're already breaking that plane? It almost at that point is more like a throwback, like a backup recall, because you and the dog are both, if we draw the plane, you and the dog are both on this side of it, and it's almost like you're kind of dropping that shoulder back right here and saying, hey, drop back and take that jump. So it kind of feels awkward. It almost doesn't really feel like a serpentine, but that's how far ahead you need to be in order to make this work, and in order for the dog to prepare for the turn, prepare for the turn before they take off as opposed to after. And I'm not sure on that bar if she wasn't just getting a little bit tired. I'm not sure what would have caused it. Timing in the blind cross was good. And then again, push through. See how you kind of want to, and you can see it really well in full time. So I'm going to not slow it down. But you want to run up there and then slow down to push in and grab her head. That's a little bit of what I saw on that first one, but as you were slowing down to try to put pressure on her, you were too much on the landing side. So yes, you want to put pressure and control that turn, but you got to get across that plane to cue that tight turn back. So that last rep there was really nice. You work through the mistakes exactly how I would have. You kind of recognize what needed to happen. But just remember, a serpentine push where you're getting onto the takeoff side does require you to be just a little bit further ahead. Very good work on this. Glad to see that you were able to get outside and enjoy some nice weather and some training.